I'm Amber.
Hi, I'm AJ, and welcome to Mountain Traditions Homestead. Welcome back to Mountain Traditions Homestead. We had said we were going to try to do a top 5 video once a week. It's been over a month, so we're going to try to do them a little more frequently than that. We've just been very, very busy. We had some requests to do a few different videos, but we had talked about this one for, well, I guess since the beginning of our channel here, so we're going to go ahead and get it out of the way. Today's top 5 is top 5 skills that our grandparents and great-grandparents knew and used every day that most people nowadays do not even begin to know how to do or choose not to do, and I'm going to go through them and give our opinion on why you should do these things and how much better it'll make your life in the long run. First one is gardening. A lot of people I know still garden, which is awesome, but we thought we'd throw that in there because that is somewhat of a lost art outside of our areas, outside of rural areas. But it's taken a surge lately with everything going on, and we just wanted to talk about our thoughts on the matter. Number one, it's healthier than, everybody eats vegetables and stuff from the grocery store and stuff, but all that stuff's been sprayed with God knows what kind of chemicals and pesticides. That's why we prefer gardening ourselves, growing our own stuff, because we know what's on the stuff, on our crops. We know what we've used. There's nothing like picking up fresh vegetables and eating them straight out of the garden or cooking with them. Another benefit to raising your own garden is seed saving. There's several different techniques on how to save seeds out of your vegetables and fruit and stuff. Eventually we may do a video on that, because certain fruits and vegetables you actually have to ferment the seeds, but I digress. Another reason we garden, you just get a feeling when you grow stuff for yourself. I don't know how to describe it. It's like the first time you learn how to fix something, or it's just that joyous feeling of being able to do something, I guess is what I'm getting at. And another reason we like to garden, and we think other people should start gardening, is if you grow enough to sustain yourself, or enough that you think you need, any leftovers you can sell at farmers markets and stuff, and that's a nice little side income. It's not gonna make you rich unless you own like 4,000 acres and grow it all in corn or something. But gardening, do it. It's fun, and it's better for you than all the chemical laced vegetables and stuff in the supermarkets and stuff. The next skill, number 2, it's another big one for us. It's preserving your own food. We touched briefly in I think the first top 5 about canning. We have done a few canning videos afterwards, but you know, anything you grow you can can. Make pickles, like I said before, I love pickles. And you know, times have changed since our grandparents. You know, this is what they canned in, a zinc lid with a rubber seal. This don't have the rubber seal on it, but this is what they canned in. You know, we've got more advanced lids and jars and whatnot. But you know, like I said before, you can can anything: meat, vegetables, fruit. And you know, it can last a very long time. I know there's, you know, some people won't eat stuff that's been canned 2-3 years, but as long as the seal isn't broken and it's not molding or rotting, it's still fine. I mean, granted, I wouldn't eat 25-year-old green beans or nothing, but you know what I mean. Along with preserving your own food, if you raise hogs, or heck, if you kill a deer or something, you can salt or sugar cure it. I know that's not necessarily a healthy way of doing it because, you know, all the sodium and content and stuff. But you can definitely do that. I've never actually done that myself, but we're considering getting some hogs for meat and stuff, so eventually I may delve into that, but not right at the moment. Another way is to preserve your own food is smoking it, smoking meat. There's several videos on YouTube and other places that tell you how to do that. That's something else I'd like to try. Eventually I'd like to get out and, you know, try to do some trout fishing and smoke some of that and then can it afterwards. Simple process actually, but we haven't tried that yet, but we will eventually. The last note I have here on preserving your own food is drying it, which of course is, you know, smoking it does dry it out some, but I'm talking about, you know, like jerkies and whatnot. We made some, I don't know if you can see it, we dried some bananas and strawberries in our jerky maker, dryer, whatever you want to call it, food dryer, dehydrator, there's the word, thank you, honey. But you can also do that in the oven. I've honestly never tried it in the oven, but I'm sure it takes just pretty much almost the same amount of time. But in the dehydrator, there's less of a chance of you burning your stuff versus drying it out. So, number 3. Well, a lot of people will say they made stuff, homemade, you know, bread or whatnot, but the third skill here is actual made from scratch cooking. I'm talking about, you know, like in a previous video, Amber showed you how to make butter out of cream. You know, you can make your own butter. You can make your own yeast. You don't have to buy store-bought yeast. Actually, all you need is like 1 medium potato. You peel it, boil it until it's done. You mash it. You save the water from it. You add 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of sugar. Pour the water that you boiled the potato in with the salt, sugar, and the potato in a quart jar, and fill it the rest of the way up with water and let it sit with just covered with cheesecloth, or, you know, something that allow air to escape but not completely seal it off because it will explode. But eventually that will turn into homemade yeast you can use for sourdough bread. You can use for any type of bread, really, or any recipe that calls for yeast. And going along with that, bread. We make several different types of bread, homemade bread, true homemade bread. we eventually will make a video on how to make the different types of bread that we make. If you've been on our Facebook page, you've seen pictures of the different kinds of bread that we make. You know, a lot of people, you know how to make biscuits and cornbread and stuff, but I'm talking about actual slicing, make sandwich loaves of bread and stuff. We learned a lot from Living Traditions Homestead's YouTube channel. I'll leave a link in the description below for them. We've actually learned a lot from them. And of course, you know, recipes from family members and stuff. But, you know, all the actual homemade, made from scratch cooking stuff, the biggest perk to all of it, there is no chemical preservatives in any of it. Yeah, it's not going to last for a month or two unless you, you know, seal it in a jar or something, but there's no chemicals in it, there's no additives in it, it's just pure flour, pure cornmeal. I mean, I know bread's not exactly wonderful for your health, but it's a lot better without all the chemicals and stuff. Another thing is making your own seasonings. You know, you can dehydrate garlic and put it in a mortar and pestle, and grind it up and make your own garlic powder, add some salt, make a garlic salt. Another made from scratch thing that I could think of right off the top of my head was cheese. It's actually very easy to make mozzarella cheese. Some of the other cheeses it's a process, but mozzarella cheese, you just take pure cow's milk that still has cream in it, and pour some vinegar in it, boil it, and it'll eventually separate. You pour the water off, keep the curds, keep doing that process until the curds there's, you know, less and less water in them, and you just work it together, and you have homemade mozzarella cheese. Add a little salt, maybe some oregano or basil or something, and you've got homemade mozzarella cheese. It's very simple. Again, Living Traditions Homestead is where I learned that. Again, I'll leave the link in the description below. Number 4 for me is a very big one, and that's fixing stuff. You know, a lot of people, if something breaks, minor or whatever, they just toss it and buy something brand new when they could have just fixed it. You know, you save a lot of money if you can fix it yourself. I know not a lot of people are mechanically inclined to do such things, but there's so many videos on YouTube. Don't tell yourself you can't do it. You can do it. Fix it. And then you have something there that may last longer than the brand new item that you bought. Second is repurposing. You know, I've seen a surge of, you know, especially on Etsy and stuff like that, where people are repurposing stuff into decorative items and stuff like that. But when I talk about repurposing, I'm talking about using them for something other than decoration. Like we just, well, we haven't finished it yet, but we just started building well, not just started. If you watched our Facebook or our first YouTube video, you know that we're building a greenhouse out of old windows from old houses, the old wood windows and old tin. You know, there's so many things you can do with repurposed materials. We made a goat pen out of pallets, and you can do all kinds of things with pallets. Pallets, of course, several YouTube videos on that. But I mean, there's so many things you can repurpose and reuse in a different manner than they were intended. Not a lot of people would be inclined to do so. Excuse me, but building your own furniture. You know, this table I'm sitting at right here, I built it for us, and the bench. Amber's going to show you. made out of 4x4s and 2x6s and 2x4s and some metal pipe, and I built the bench on the other side. It took a little bit, but I mean, it's not so difficult that you can't do it. Like I said, don't let yourself tell yourself that you're unable to do it. Try it. I mean, shoot, ain't no harm in trying. Just try it. If you need help, there's no shame in that either. But you know, there's plenty of YouTube videos on how to make stuff. Not everybody had a grandpa like mine and that taught me a lot of this stuff, but you know, and this table will probably outlast anything you buy from IKEA, Walmart, or whatever, because it's made with actual wood. It's not particle board or anything like that. And if you find that you're very good at doing that, you could sell the furniture for some side money. I mean, I don't think that I'm that good. Some people have told me I am, but I don't think that I am. But I mean, try it. All that being said about building and fixing things, I want to put this up here. I do not know much about automotive fixes. I do know enough to get by on electrical. But please leave that to professionals if you have no clue what you're doing, because that's, you know, endangering your life if you don't know what you're doing and try to put on like a tie rod on your car and it fly off going down the interstate. So do use common sense when repurposing and fixing stuff. My last point, and it's also a big one for us, and I know a lot of people that still do it, but foraging wild edibles. You know, go out and pick you some blackberries. Go out and, you know, pick ramps. And I am going to do a video on wild edibles around here, if I can. Maybe next week or so. But just right off the top of my head, you know, early spring I picked a bunch of dandelions, and Amber made dandelion jelly out of the flowers. It tastes like honey. It's delicious. Again, canning. I will say that if you are foraging for wild edibles, try to avoid within at least 6 feet of a road, because the chemicals and stuff, oil spills. Last year on our road, for the Virginia Department of Transportation sprayed all the weeds on the side of the road instead of mowing them, so nothing there's going to be edible for a long time because of all the pesticide, chemicals they used. Oh, and another thing I forgot I'll go back to it real quick, about canning and all that. This is bacon grease. Save your bacon grease. You can use it. It honestly will not, it'll last a long time is what I'm trying to say. And you can use that in all kinds of different recipes and stuff. Along with wild edibles, there's also medicinal plants. I know a lot of people are very skeptical about that, but the ingredients in your over-the-counter and prescription medications contain stuff from plants. It's not all chemicals. But I do urge you to get a book if you're going to do so, even with the wild edibles, because some things look like other things. One is safe and the other is poisonous, so please be careful and understand and know your plants before you try to eat them or do anything else. But we have this little book on medicinal herbs. Trying to think of one right off the top of my head. moss. Wild moss, it's sterile. You can use it as a bandaging for a wound, or uh, let's see, plantains. You can smash up the leaves and put on a wound. Excuse me, pine sap. I mean, I'll get into that in another video, hopefully the next top 5. But again, all these things are stuff that are easy to do. If you don't know how to do it, heck, you can message us. If we don't know, we'll tell you. If we do, we'll tell you how to do it or how we do it. There's plenty of videos on YouTube. Instructables, the website has some stuff. I mean, you can find the internet, you know, you can find anything on there. You know, you just need to try. Just try. It ought to us, it makes our life less hectic if we do all this stuff ourselves versus, you know, going to Walmart and having to buy all this stuff. It's cheaper. I mean, there's so many benefits to all these things. And our grandparents and great grandparents and generations before that for thousands of years did this stuff. And I know we live in an advanced technological age, but this stuff works, people. Try it. Well, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Have a blessed day. Bye.